Give me a thumbs up. If we're good, then we'll start. Sup,
Name it.
Hazard, Josh, Chris, Derek, Pancake, Justin, Robert, Andrew, Nelson, Lorenzo, Swanger, Cody, Nick, Carlos. All right, guys. Welcome to Views from the Vault. It's your homie Leon here. We have Pierre and Jason Mead co-hosting, and today we have a very special episode. We got Dankadelik in the house. Pierre is gonna take us under the cap with the Dank one.
Nice. So, Martin, it's great to have you on finally, man. We've been chatting a lot this week, but it's great to have you on.
Thank you. Nice to be on.
And I wore my my favorite Dankadelik creation today.
Right on.
Love it. So, Martin, what we usually do is we like to get to know our guests and kind of give everyone out there a chance to know more about those folks that are doing some awesome stuff out in the community and creating. So, I'd love to get you, tell us a little bit about yourself. I just love to hear a little bit more about you.
So just in general, I grew up in Arizona, born and raised in Tucson. I lived there till I was about 22, and then moved to the Phoenix metro area. Been here ever since. So I spent equal amount of time. I think I've been in both. I'm 45, so I might be here a little bit longer than Tucson, but yeah, I mean, Arizona born, Arizona bred. Learn to survive in the heat.
That's the thing I was telling you earlier. My sister and her husband and my niece and nephew live out there. I don't know how you do it. I can't take that heat. Today it was like 80 here though, in New York. So
yeah, I think it was it was like 100 and something a day. It's supposed to be like 113 on Friday or something. It's gonna be hot.
It would have been a perfect day for the rain god.
Yeah, right.
So Martin, tell us, like, obviously you're an artist. So what got you into that? Take us through that.
So I've been drawing since I was a little kid. I mean, ever since I could remember, I've had a pencil or a pen in my hand, and I still have some of the drawings from when I was like 4 and 5 years old that my mom saved. So that's kind of just been my thing, drawing all throughout my whole life. And when I was younger, I did a lot of graffiti. Not really legal, but that's kind of how you build your chops in the street. And then went to art school and just never lost a passion. I mean, I don't do art for work. I mean, I guess if this is considered work, but I don't really it's not my job.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've never put a pencil or a pen down. It's always been in my hand. So
when you see artists out there, right? When you see artists out there, is there any specific artists that you really drew inspiration from, or folks that you looked up to when you were younger?
Unfortunately, without the internet, it was really hard. So really a lot of the different art styles that I would see would be in Lowrider magazine. So on the back of the Lowriders, they would have this little section where people would send art in. And then, eventually it went into a magazine where it was just an art magazine, and people would send in their art, and, it'd be of cars or girls or whatever. And then there was also, I don't know if you guys are familiar with, there was a street magazine called Teen Angels. I don't know if any of you are.
I'm not familiar with it, no.
It's basically is based out of LA, but is a gangster style type art book, and people would send their pictures to them and they would publish them, and there'd be drawings in there that people would send either from prisons or just from the street, and then you would see that whole Chicano kind of art.
Yeah.
So I would look at those. You had to buy them at a liquor store or something. They weren't just in a Walgreens or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that was pretty much it. I mean, I knew who Mr. Cartoon was back in the day. I think a lot of people that were connected kind of knew who he was, with this ear to the street thing. And then graffiti artists. There was a magazine that I used to read, well, pictures mainly, but Can Control. That was in the late 80s, early 90s as well. And you would see a lot of the street art. And I was more drawn to the West Coast style than the East Coast style, even though it's like the originators, right? Kind of like the East Coast. But, you know, like Slick and Risk and those guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been interesting just grabbing all these different influences. I can't really pinpoint it to one person.
What were the key differences between the East and the West Coast style? I could certainly tell you about the rap music, what the difference was
Oh,
from a hip hop perspective, but from an art perspective, when you think about graffiti, like what was the key differences?
uh, you know, I think because the East Coast graffiti style was more of, you know, it was like character based, heavy character based. You actually, in the beginning of like the West Coast graffiti, you actually see a lot of that kind of beat street style, I guess that you would call it, right, from the 80s. Um, but it just has its own flavor. I think the West Coast just incorporates a little bit of the more relaxed attitude, where New York, East Coast is very gritty, and it's like a real street feel.
Yeah.
And that LA graffiti is kind of like more of a laid back.
So
In
those,
my
that probably has a lot to do with like that probably has a lot of influence over your art throughout the years. Do you still think it connects to the things that you create now?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I think you can tell by the signature on the back of the hat,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. No, let me show everybody that because that I love this.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's
it's pretty
like
awesome.
legit my tag. It's evolved over the years, you know, it's gotten better. I mean, and then I didn't always write Dank. I mean, I went through tons of names, and you know, that's just kind of the one that stuck. So
Why'd you land there?
I don't know. I think I started writing that when I was about 18 years old, and it kind of fit,
Yeah.
and my hand style just kind of evolved around that. I mean, a lot of my previous graffiti names started with the letter D. I think I'm just, for whatever reason, I'm drawn to that letter, and it just kind of it was organic. It completely just came out. And I think the name back then, you know, it's obviously weed. um it held a lot more stigma than it does now, right? The time is different than it was back in the late 80s, early
Certainly
90s.
not as risque now, right?
No, not at all. I think it's more mainstream, and that's why I was always kind of afraid that like New Era, if they had rules or something on what we're designing, would be like, that's a little, you know,
Mhm.
think of a different logo. But everybody seemed cool with it, so I just went with it.
That's nice. So tell us, so you've recently been doing a lot of work with Hat Club. Can you kind of take us on the journey it took to get to that space and what you're kind of working on now?
Yeah, definitely. So Clink Room. I started as a Clink Room artist, and I followed it for probably about a year or two, and I saw people having their hats created. And mind you, I did not know how to use Illustrator. I didn't know how to use Photoshop or any of those things. And a friend of mine had a bootleg copy of Illustrator,
Mm.
so I loaded it onto my computer, and it was like this tank computer's old computer. But I taught myself how to use Illustrator. I'm still not very good at it, I don't think. Like, I go on YouTube and everybody just flies through stuff, and it takes me like hours to figure it out. But so that's where I started. So what I would do is I would take a picture on my phone, or I'd scan it, you know, like at work, I would scan it to my work email and then email it to myself. And then I would open it up in Illustrator and just put a layer on top of it and kind of try to trace the lines. Um, but, you know, Clink Room, they were doing I think they called it the hometown league at that point, because they had so many leagues, and you know, there was always a story behind what you were designing.
Mm.
And so the first hat I did that they really, I mean, I did a bunch of designs that were kind of kicked to the curb, you know. But the cool thing about Casey was he would always give you some feedback on it, so you would get feedback on like, what could you do to do better, right? Like, try this, try that, maybe it'll work. So the first hat that they accepted, and they actually accepted both designs at the same time, but I'll go ahead and show you, it was the Skinwalker. So I don't know if you can see that. And, you know, I don't know if everyone's familiar with the Skinwalker folklore, but, you know, Native Americans in northern Arizona believe that witch doctors can transform into different animals and, you know, kind of terrorize the land, whatever they're going to do. And I thought it was a cool design. So I put a wolf's head with the Native American gentleman in there.
That's super.
So yeah, I was really proud of myself on this one. I mean, I did get a lot of feedback from Casey to kind of do more of a classical Native American look as opposed to what I was doing, which was kind of more like graffiti based.
Yeah.
And so I changed it. And actually, for the reference, I used Indian motorcycles, the little man that they put on the front of the Indian motorcycles. That was kind of my reference point for that face.
Gotcha.
And then I think it was around the same time the league was still open, and you know they told me that this one had won. So just really quickly, I designed. I called it the Aslan All Stars, which Hat Club re-released last year.
Yeah,
which is this one here.
I have that cap too.
Yeah, and that was the second one. So they kind of won at the same time. So I had two hats come into production. So I was really like excited about that because my hats were in production. And I think at the time Hat Club was actually putting those in the store because, you know, the internet wasn't like it is now where it's the Amazon, you know, you click and you get it at your house in 2 days kind of thing. So, but yeah, they sold out really quick there. And that kind of got me introduced to the whole Hat Club thing. And as far as evolving with Hat Club, so last June, I was actually driving to San Diego for vacation, and Danny from Dionic reached out to me, and he's like, hey, he vaguely remembered me, and we followed each other on Instagram, and I think that's how he kind of knew from the old posts that I have on my Instagram page, but he said that Hat Club was trying to get a hold of me to send me a couple of hats of the re-release, which was the all black, you know, black visor, black hat. So, you know, through talking with Danny and then communicating with Hat Club, you know, I knew Danny was designing hats already for them. So I was trying to like get my way into Hat Club through Danny, and he was a little bit hesitant. I mean, of course I would be too. He's like giving me someone's information, right? That he doesn't know me personally, but so that's kind of how it took off. And I talked to John, and we just kind of had some rapport. And I think within a month he sent me a contract, and looked it over, thought it was good, and no pressure to design like a bunch of hats at once or, you know, anything like that. It was kind of like, hey, test it out, see how you like it. And I kicked around the idea for a couple of months, you know, what I was going to do. And then I actually painted a painting of Tlaloc, which is the rain god, the Aztec rain god. And I was like, that's what I want to do. So I just put my own spin on it. I did a lot of research on that particular god to kind of feel what I was going to pull out of it and what parts really meant a lot to me and what characteristics of that character should I put on there. And that's kind of how that was born. And it's just been like that ever since. You know, I had the Revolutionary just release, and then I think I have 2 more releases coming out that are original.
Wow.
And I'm working on a couple of more right now. But, you know, with the delay with New Era and the whole COVID thing has kind of stopped everybody from putting out really new stuff. So.
Well, I think there's a lot of folks that are super excited to see what these new ones are going to look like, because the last 2 have been absolutely outstanding, and people are just, they were just fighting over these things. So I can only imagine more coming in the future. I have one more question for you, Martin, before I ask Jason if there was anything that kind of came through while we were talking. listen, in my other job, in my other world, I interview a lot of people from the creative world.
Mhm.
And what I'm always really intrigued by is how they're able to almost like let things kind of slide off their back because they get a tons of critical feedback. And I'm sure you have in the past too.
Mhm.
And it's usually very raw feedback about something that's very personal to you. How do you keep yourself in a space where you can accept that feedback and kind of move on and stay positive? Because that's got to be a difficult component in what you do.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I think being in art school kind of exposed me to that, where they nitpicked everything. And it's really like, I think about art school now and I'm like, what a waste of time, because computers have changed everything that I learned.
Yeah.
Like, so for instance, going back to the criticism that I would receive, um, I had to actually ink a word. The word was quality, right? And the letters were probably like that big, like 5 or 6 inches. They had to be perfect, perfectly round, perfectly straight edges. I mean, you're talking about T squares and all this thing, and special pens and all this stuff. And I thought it looked fantastic. And my instructor gave it back, and the whole thing was full of red circles. Like, so I think that was kind of a shot to the ego. But it taught me that I have to go back and to satisfy what that person wanted. So it was like a double-edged sword, right? Because it wasn't what I wanted, but it was what they expected and
Yeah.
what they. So I think that just kind of helped me get that tough skin.
Yeah. I think that's what's most underrated about creative folks is the it's necessary to have that tough skin.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, it's coming at you from all directions. Even when you put a hat out now, or you create something now, you have thousands of critics, and it's amazing to me to watch the resilience of folks like you that are able to handle that so well. And I can tell why from talking to you today, Martin. I can tell why you're so good at it. Jason, did we have any questions that came up while we were chatting?
Yeah, there's a couple that came up. First off, people just love your stuff, and they really like getting the background on some of these hats, especially the Ozlon All Stars and that Skinwalker. They really love the backstory on how you came up with those. Carlos R wants to know: did you ever submit any artwork to Lowrider Mag in your younger days?
I did not. I didn't have the balls to do it. There were so many great artists on there. I never felt like it was on par with anybody, so I never did.
Would you today?
I think I'm in a different place today.
Sure.
So probably not. I actually had a friend of mine. He won third place in one of them. And he was older than me. He's probably about 10 years. I haven't seen him in years, but he's probably about 10 years older than me. So at the time I was like 18, he was like 28, but that guy's a fantastic artist. His name is Frank Mills. He's in Tucson. I think he's still there, but that guy was great. So after seeing his picture in person and what he submitted to them, I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm cut out for that for that kind of stuff. I'm not good enough. So
I think you are. But anyway, Pina Lara, he's from Chicago, but he's from Mexico. He wants to know if you're planning on doing any more Mexican themed hats, maybe some folklore.
Folklore, I'm not sure. I haven't dove into that too much right now with what I'm designing. I can tell you that the next couple of hats that are in the pipeline that I'm working on, the designs right now are Aztec themed, Mexica themed.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where, I talked to you guys a little bit earlier, right, about what my influences are, what I want to do. And it's definitely my culture is really strong with me, and I've really instilled that in my kids as well. But yeah, I definitely try to do what I would wear. And I know it kind of sounds arrogant a little bit, but I don't design for anybody else. Yeah. I design what I want to wear for me. So I take that approach every time I do something. I know some people, they're like, oh, I'm going to design this because I think it'll appeal to everybody. I design it for me. and hopefully it appeals to more than just myself. But so far, it seems to be working that way. So I'm really thankful and happy that everybody's just been, they've given me so much feedback, and it's driving me to want to continue to do this.
So can I ask a question, Martin? There was one question that just came through. Is that Jackie Robinson in the picture behind you?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Dodger fan.
That's
I'm a Dodger.
Dodger fan. So a lot of the Detroit guys, there's a ton of Detroit guys in the hat groups, right? And I'm sure they were excited about the Detroit hat, but you're in fact a Dodger fan.
I am a Dodger fan, so I wear the Detroit hat because it's what I wore growing up. It was like I said, all the graffiti names and my neighborhood name have always started with the D, and
yeah,
that's representative of me. I mean, since the 90s, I've wore the Detroit. I can't name one Detroit player, so forgive me, guys.
We just had one more question pop up while you're talking there. Josh D wants to know, have you done any tattoos, or has any artist come to you looking to do tattoos for people?
So I actually apprenticed. I was a tattoo apprentice. I don't really talk about it too much because it kind of things just didn't work out. I apprenticed back in, God, it had to be about 2002, for about a year and a half. And the reason that I stopped tattooing is the owner of the shop at the time was bought out. So I was tattooing in Mesa. I'll give a little background to it because it probably just sounds dumb if I don't. Mesa only allows so many shops to be in their Mesa, Arizona. So he was grandfathered in because he was one of the original shops that had been there, and there was a company, a Club Tattoo, that owned a few shops in Arizona. I think they have one in Vegas now, that he sold to, and I kind of was left without a job at that point. And now tattoo shops are everywhere. That wasn't like that in the early 2000s. I sound like such an old guy. I think I am, but in the early 2000s, I tried to open up my own tattoo shop, and I tattooed at home in my garage for a little while, and nobody would rent to me. Like, it was the craziest thing. And now, like, you can drive down the street. I'm sure it's like that in every town that everybody lives in. There's a tattoo shop like every mile. Like, I think I was born too early, so I don't know.
Well, us 40-somethings are a little older, right? So we're getting to that point. But listen, Martin, thank you so much for chatting with us. I really appreciate it. You're going to stay on with us though, so we have some more time with you. So we're going to head into the next phase of this show, which is Leon's going to take us through the weekend, this week in Caps.
Yeah, thanks, Pierre. So very, very crazy week in Caps. I think this was one of the longest ones we did. So starting with Hat Club, they're the leader right now. So we'll start off with their releases. Little 3-pack here. We got the pirate with the yellow. We did a retro of the Cubs.
And my favorite was that St. Louis Browns.
Yeah.
That was my favorite, man.
Yeah,
Love that logo.
Love
and
it.
I'm usually a white panel fan. I didn't like it on that hat.
Yeah. I hate white panels. Moving forward, so we had like the two wine kind of color, almost burgundy hats, gray unders. White Sox 05, Yankees 96. Pierre, do you like any of these?
Yeah, I picked up the White Sox for myself and my son. It was actually for someone else, and then I realized that they already had it, so my son lucked out.
Nice.
My son's got a 7 5/8. I'm a 7 1/4. He got a big old head, and he's 12.
Jeez.
And then we got a 3-pack here. The Yankees with the Statue of Liberty head.
Yeah, they call these the Lady Liberty.
Lady Liberty? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of these, Jason? What do you think about them?
I'm not a Yankee fan. I own like 2 Yankees hats, so that's probably my quota. I did like them though. I just wasn't gonna pick any of these up.
Yeah. So for me, this kind of just shows the difference between Hat Club and then the rest of the guys. For me personally, I hate it when the logo is not centered and they center the whole thing. So I'm just glad that they got the Yankee right in the middle, and then they put the Lady Liberty on the side, as opposed to just centering the whole thing. That's just a design characteristic that I like. So I'm happy that Hat Club did it like this. Dionic re-released his Fire Ant design. I think this was like a suede under.
Yeah, it was a Panama tan
I
suede.
think it's laid under, yeah.
Yeah, and then sold out in what, 10 seconds maybe. But I heard there might be a pre-order on it. I'm not sure.
There was.
They dropped a pre-order an hour later, which they
Yeah,
never
the
do,
only thing
so.
I didn't like about this hat, honestly, was the squatchy.
It's like an olive green.
Yeah, but I think it's supposed to match the helmet on the ant. But I don't know. That's the only part of the hat I didn't like.
Yeah. Well, this is Dionic just bringing back some of his old hits,
Yeah.
which is cool. You get to see some of his old stuff kind of get retroed and done in a new colorway. So, big ups to
Not all they can do right now.
Yeah. And then 2 LA joints. So one on the left, it's like got that big Raiders feel, silver and black. The side patch, me and Pierre were discussing about it. I don't like the white on silver or the silver on white. I feel like it needs an outline there, but other than that, still a strong hat. I had to cop the black one, and then the era specific New York LA emblem on the right's way bigger to kind of match the 59.
Yeah.
I like how they did that.
Yeah. And that LA, the Raiders looking one is much better in hand. I have to say that it is much better in hand because the pictures don't do it justice with that beautiful silver.
Right.
Yeah, I love that silver and black. Just that side patch looks a little busy.
Yeah. I think this was like the fourth hat in 3 weeks that Hat Club dropped black LA, but you can never get enough. But gun to your head, Dank, what you being an LA fan, which one would you rock?
Always black.
Always black? Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I don't know. Yellow's a little too much for me. It's a nice hat. I dig it, but not. I got a big head, man. So like 7 3/4. Nobody needs to see that much yellow coming at them.
Sombrero doesn't get extra points from you though.
It does, but it's got that old feel, which is cool. I think if they would have done it in a different color, I probably would have picked it up.
Right.
I think I have 12 different versions of the 1959 All-Star Game cap.
Yeah,
And they've done them in a few colors.
Then we got a double pink bottom drop. So we had the all navy 1992 Atlanta Braves. They lost to the world's greatest team that year, Toronto Blue Jays. And then the Pirates. That Pirates is nasty with the pink bottom. That one's really nice.
Yeah, and Justin, as we know, the creator of the pink bottom, his favorite team is Pittsburgh. So this is his first foray into pink bottom world with his favorite team.
I just feel like they're rubbing it in every time they do a Braves hat with the losing side patch on it.
Yeah, it's weird,
I
right?
I know they only won one, but growing up, TBS, that's the only way I could watch baseball. So I was a Braves fan.
Oh, yeah, TBS, man. That was the days of Maddox, Glavine.
Maddox, Smoltz, Glavine, yep.
And then they had Steve Avery for a while.
Yep. John Rocker.
Oh, don't talk about John Rocker, that guy.
Oh, God.
This one probably, I would say, release of the week in terms of their sports stuff. It's the Houston pink bottom, looks like the Travis Scott kind of colorway. We were told there was a lot in terms of stock for this, but it still didn't help.
It sold out in seconds. I mean, people were pissed that this was a shock drop, and they completely missed out on it. I got so much heat on my IG for this one.
Yeah, you did, for sure.
Yeah, I like that hat, but it's the Astros. So Dodger fans and Astros, we don't,
Yeah. So, Jason, people were giving you shit because you told them about it and it sold out, or is that what happened? Or
I didn't even post this one because it was gone before I even my crawler even found it. And even on the Yankees one and the what else came out? Yankees and something else came out with it. They were just all going on a stream on the Yankees one. Like, where's that Strohs? Where's that Strohs? I missed the Brown Strohs. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's why I didn't post it.
Can I ask Martin, what do you think about these pink underbrims?
I don't like them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, this one looks like an ice cream sandwich. So, I mean, it works for this one.
Yeah.
You know, like a Neapolitan ice cream
Yeah, it looks like a Neapolitan ice cream, a pint of Neapolitan ice cream.
But it's not my cup of tea. And I'm not big into the patches either. You know, I know it's
Thank
kind
you.
of, seems to be more of an East Coast kind of thing. You know, but I know that, remember they did the Dodger one with the lowrider on the side, or some of those I'm okay with, but when that patch, that's a huge patch. I just,
Yeah.
pink bottoms and patches, like, give me one or the other. Don't throw them on there at one time, because I can't do it, man.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I got lucky. Shout out to TJ. He grabbed me one of these, but I had to size down. But you know, still take it as you can get it. And then Dionic dropped his second collab, I believe, with Alex Mitchell and Thrill SF. So they dropped a 2-pack. What was the retail hit on this? This had to be over $100, right?
It was 108.
108. Dang. It's still sold out. It's still fresh.
Still sold out immediately.
And interesting materials on the Dionic cap. It wasn't. He used some interesting materials there.
Yeah. It was like a faux leather. Yeah, I'm not even sure what that is.
It'd be interesting to figure out, I guess. So what they did was, it looks like they kind of robotized their logo. So I guess that's kind of like a robot.
Cyborg. Like it was like I called it on my Instagram. I called it the cyborg pack.
Yeah, that's what they called it too. Yeah,
And then
robotic themed. Yeah.
Yeah, because Thrill SF has done a bunch of seagulls in the past. So I guess they kind of made it.
Their last collab was the Seagull and the Octo Slugger.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is the Jailbird and the Octo Slugger. So this is the same. They just did like a
robot version,
2.0 robot versions of them. Yeah.
But they didn't switch this time, so that's interesting.
No, they didn't.
They switched the thing where Danny did the Jailbird and then Alex did the thing. So kind of interesting. Sold out before I can get my hands on it, so I didn't have to make the choice. And then MLB, it's called the Slant. This was from NewEraCap.com. They skipped the Blue Jays, so I didn't have to decide on anything. But this was pretty cool.
Yeah, this was one of their typical special ones where they only did about 14 to 16 teams. I don't know why they just don't do all of them, but they seem to mix them up between the drops too. So but then always, you
got your core teams, right? The ones that'll sell just about anywhere, and then they
Yankees, Dodgers, Cubs. Yeah,
Red Sox are in most of them too.
Yeah,
just so you're aware. I don't want to get the Red Sox out.
Well, Milwaukee snuck in here. I don't know who paid them. And then Minnesota was kind of like the one that kind of, and even Cleveland maybe. But
my favorite was the Atlanta one.
They skipped the Bo Sox for this, Pierre. They didn't do.
I have it. I got it.
Okay, so maybe I was just sleeping on the slides, but all clean. I don't know. I like the ones with the script more, but it's cool to get their jersey stuff on their hat. But it's probably something that is not for everyday use, but still cool.
Maybe they embroidered it too. It wasn't like you know.
It's not a screen print or anything.
Yeah,
it's embroidered.
It was embroidered, which is great.
Yeah,
I would have been more impressed if they did tackle twill though.
That would have been pretty cool.
And then the NBA Americana, they skipped the world champion Toronto Raptors.
Well,
but
to be fair, it's an Americana collection, not a Canadiana collection. So
I still want to see world champs be represented in a drop. But yes, the Americana collection did skip the world champions.
You could have done like little maple leaves instead of the stars, maybe.
Yeah,
sure. They'd have to use snow camo though if they did a Toronto one. The woodland.
Yeah. Hat Heaven dropped a bunch of hats. So we got Albuquerque. We got some cool side patch going on with Baltimore, California Angels without the halo, Black Cubs.
Leon, if I could say too, people shouldn't be sleeping on Hat Heaven.
Oh, they're not.
Listen, Hat Heaven puts out some cool shit, man.
They do. But they've been starting to sell out like within a couple hours too, which was never the case up until a couple of weeks ago actually. But now the I think you got it on the next slide probably. The Pittsburgh, that World
Pittsburgh
Series one.
It was gone in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was gone. And so people aren't sleeping on Hat Heaven, which is unfortunate because I could always count on them to be able to get some stuff, but apparently not anymore.
And then this is the last one before we showed the preview, but then it looks like the inaugural Rays logo. We got some San Fran, and then the Blue Jay, almost like the new Alt 4, but I'm not sure because they made the flag tonal. So I don't know if that's considered a fashion or an on-field, but the homie Brian, the owner of Hat Heaven, gave us a little preview of some stuff that's happening in July. The third one he wanted to get approved but didn't get approved, so we can't show it. But this is kind of like the Black Sox pack. So we got the Chicago White Sox in black, and then the Boston Red Sox in black as well. So he's going to be dropping this in July.
Yep. And there's going to be a lot of restocks coming. And what's cool is he's letting us know when these restocks are happening and giving us a little bit of a heads up so I can.
I think he said that Pirates one was coming, August or September?
I believe the restock is then. I know we're just around the corner from that LA Raiders. I'm sorry, Las Vegas Raiders cap.
Thank you. Yep.
And for you caps, dropped a couple hats here. Anything that you like, Pierre or Jason?
I like that D-backs. They did it in the Suns colorway. That I like For You caps a lot. They do a lot of different colorways. Yeah. So if you guys don't know about them, go check them out. Their site's kind of slow, but just bear with them.
Listen, I think I'm all for some of these different colorways, but some of them, like that Blue Jays one, man, that's not for me, man.
That's
not for me. Yeah, rocking the Gucci
a lot of Blue Jays. Sneaker matching, so they will do colorways specifically to match a sneaker.
Absolutely.
In fact, they even have a tab on their site just for sneaker matching hats. So
yeah. Either way, I'm not buying that Toronto hat.
I think that hat on the right is a G League team too.
The Texas Legends.
Yep.
And moving forward, active athlete out of I think they're out of Houston. They're out of
Houston.
Yeah. So they restocked a bunch of their Houston Arrows. It's a defunct AHL team, I want to say, right?
They're now the Iowa Wild.
There you go. But if you like some defunct AHL stuff, head over to activeathlete88.com. Get your fix. Billing Creation released this Texas Rangers hat. This was
an alternate on-field.
Oh, is this an on-field?
Yeah. They just released to San Diego. It's not going to be represented on the slides, but if anyone's looking for those Disney hands, there's Billion Creation dropped a San Diego hat with the Mickey hands kind of holding the SD on the front. Pretty cool cap, but that's on there right now.
And then ECAPs Unlimited kind of came back from the dead. Jason, you want to take us through this one?
Yeah, ECAPs Unlimited. They're actually Caps Unlimited is their store name. They're a small little shop in I believe Harlem, and they obviously got hit pretty hard by COVID because they hadn't dropped anything since like December or January, and they were consistently every 2-3 weeks dropping stuff. So just this week they dropped like 8 different designs here, and that New York Mets one, I'm not a Mets fan nor a side patch fan. That hat is pretty freaking awesome. It's got the gold New York Mets logo. It's got the 50th anniversary patch all in gold, and then the gold trim Batterman on the back. It's pretty awesome. They're one of those shops that do a lot of different colorways for sneaker matching and stuff like that.
It's interesting that a store in Harlem would have a Black Nasty in their store, but lower right hand corner, San Diego Black Nasty. So on field.
Yeah.
I like the Cardinals. I think that's a 09 All-Star patch. That one's kind of cool. I haven't.
Yeah, they said it was like an alternate All-Star game patch too, like maybe like a sleeve patch or something like that.
No, Hat Club has released that cap before, I think, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think so.
And then Just Fitted's releasing their, I guess, their bootleg hat club line, I guess, if I'm trying to be nice about it.
No.
So they got the LA with the palm tree. So this one is when they centered the whole logo. That's my pet peeve. I'd rather them center the LA than get the
that one was pretty popular too. That one sold out pretty quick. But the other two are almost direct copies of stuff Justin's already done.
That one's a red velvet, and that the one on the right, Hat Club has made that in both a pink and a blue bottom.
Yeah. Well, the LA is interesting. I mean, you don't really see that purple with the pink, so they kind of went for it. So for them, but I mean, this is kind of a stay in your lane moment. But you know what? Maybe those guys over there, they're in Germany, so they might have a hard time getting.
Yeah, it's providing access overseas for something that they wouldn't otherwise be able to get their hands on.
Yeah,
I know it's to ship them back over here, it costs about as much as the hat does. So,
well, right now, if you want to ship anything from Germany, you have to use DHL and you have to do premium shipping. So you're looking at around 40 to 50 euro for a single box. And then our friends at Team Collective. So shout out to Kevin. He's got this hat coming back. I think it's a previous release. It's called the Balking Dead, play on words from The Walking Dead. I think there's an option to buy this with a T-shirt or a hoodie as well. Or something.
He's got a bundle save. I think it's either 15% or $15 off if you buy the Balking Dead shirt with it.
Yeah,
which is pretty much just the hand logo too.
Yeah, this one's kind of cool. I'm kind of eyeing it. I don't know if it's the size 8 making me or not, but I'm gonna have to make a decision on this one soon. But yeah, Team Collective kind of newish to the game with the rebrand, but yeah, shout out to Kevin. And then the commish, James Hummel, has dropped a pre-order for his, I believe it's called the Wheat Kings. This is in his like Tragically Hip. I don't know if it's the size 8 making me or not, but I'm gonna have to make a decision on this one soon. Yeah, Team Collective kind of newish to the game with the rebrand, but yeah, shout out to Kevin. And then the commish, James Hummel, has dropped a pre-order for his, I believe it's called the Wheat Kings. This is in his like Tragically Hip. I don't know if it's the size 8 making me or not, but I'm gonna have to make a decision on this one soon. Who's the echo?
There we go.
We're back.
Yeah.
I was trying to click out of there, but it kept giving the feedback.
Sure.
It's cool. So get this one. I think this closes June 6th. So get the commit hat there. Team Collective caps. And then Headliners out of San Jose dropped their typical monogram HL hats and then the Paperboy.
These both went super quick. I didn't even get a chance to get I was eyeing that Paperboy, but by the time I went to go pick it up, it was gone in my size and was gone in all sizes within a couple hours.
Yeah.
How now Paperboys are all grown men.
This is a classic design. They've been doing the same thing in in different colorways for years, but this is a staple for most cap collectors, Headliners. And Sneaker Room came up with this Florida Marlins hat. I believe it's like called something butter or
Butter
bottom.
Yeah. So interesting.
At least this isn't a direct ripoff of what Hat Club NoHo's been doing.
Yeah, they're going for it. I mean, it's cool. It's different. This one sold out, $50. It's gone.
Yeah, immediately gone.
And then this one, Jay, you like this hat, right? Tell us about this hat.
Yeah, this was it's a team from the Mexican Baseball League. Fourth Quarter Shop is one of the few shops in the U.S. that, for some reason, can sell these Mexican League hats. Locker Room of Downey does quite a few. Billion Creation does quite a few. But this is like an alternative, like sleeve logo for the Yankees Oberon. They called it the Dito Special or something like that. Yeah, it's a real clean logo. Love this hat.
I think this one sold out fast too.
This one sold out really fast because I didn't get it. Went back to get it and gone.
Yeah, these guys are really good dudes, but I've been in Locker Room of Downey, and I could have spent all day there with their Mexican Baseball League hats. Like
Dude, I keep begging them to get a website.
Yeah, I know. I talked to them too when I was there, and they're like, "Nope, you can order online, follow our Instagram," but it doesn't even do them justice for what they have in there. And I
Oh
haven't
no.
had a chance to go to fourth quarter. I was gonna go there this summer, but summer's ruined right now. So
Yeah.
shout out to
Cap City. They have like 5-star stores in Southern California. They do a lot of Mexican League hats too.
yeah, they're hard to come by.
Yeah. Then All Out Foul released the Joker's hat, so it looks like it's their hyena design, almost kind of a play with the actual Joker character. Kind of. This one's an interesting one, but anything All Out Foul puts out it's extra fresh.
Yeah, I got quite a few all out Foul hats, and that one sold out really fast too.
Yeah, I think that's like a general theme. I mean, people can't even keep hats
No.
stuck in their stores right now, but
People go back to work and stop trolling the internet so I can buy hats.
yeah, exactly. This is a minor league 3-pack, I guess. So Tulsa released, I think this is an alternate. Birmingham Barons and the Kannapolis Cannonballers. You see anything here you like, Pierre? No? Nothing tickling you?
No, not really. I don't like that Birmingham. That's for sure. I like the classic. Just
The one that Jordan wore. That's the only one I like.
yeah, me too. Me too.
And then we had some funkier ones. Portland Sea Dogs did one that looks like an ice cream sandwich.
It's a whoopie pie.
Whoopie pie, okay.
They did this one last year and they just re-released it again this year.
Yeah, I was looking at it. I think it's exactly the same as last year's.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between a whoopie pie and an ice cream sandwich?
Well, since I grew up since my family grew up in Canada, and I was always up there in Maine and Canada, whoopie pies are a big. In New Brunswick, Canada, whoopie pies are a big dessert. It's like this kind of like fluffy cake with like a vanilla cream on the inside, like a sandwich.
Yeah, it's not ice cream.
What's that?
Do you hold it? Like you hold it?
Yeah, you would hold it, but like when my grandmother would make them, she would leave them in like a Ziploc bag after she did it. So you would use a Ziploc bag, otherwise it would stick to your fingers a little bit.
All right.
It was delicious though, man. It reminds me of when I was young.
Nice. And then I guess the Copa, this year's version restocked on Tacoma on their website.
I think they actually just got theirs.
Okay. This is the first time they're selling it. So
Yeah.
the San Antonio Missions with their hat there.
Yeah.
Can you guys give me some feedback or some, like, I have no idea what this Copa thing is. I see the hats all the time. I'm not super familiar with them. So what's the premise behind all of them?
I think
Yes.
the main thing was it started with a couple teams, and they wanted to kind of show love for Mexican culture or Latino culture.
Latino heritage. It's called the Fun Cup. Started 3 years ago with like 16 teams, and then it's just expanded. It's up to 90 teams now. They basically just do alternative identity like a few nights a year to celebrate Latino heritage.
Yeah, they're ugly. No,
that one is, yes.
Man, you guys are hurting the culture. That's
All
why
right.
it's for me, right? So
Yeah. Major DC dropped this camel joint.
This is the first time they've ever released this one online. They did this like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, I've got the
but they said this is
I've got the blackout version, and then the navy with white. This one is nice too.
Yeah. Then we got East Van baseball. Jake, take us through these ones.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the East Van baseball. They're sold through Nice One Studios. He actually does all of the team's graphics. He actually does a couple punk rock band graphics too. But East Van Baseball League is an adult wood bat recreational baseball league in East Vancouver, Canada, and they do fitteds for all of their 12 teams. That teal with like the Dynamite. That's an expansion team last year. The Little Mountain Blasters. The black and gold. There's the punk rock Isotopes one. That's like their third iteration of a different hat. So go check them out. He does a small run. He's all sold out within hours, but he's got pre-orders for all these back up on his site. And then as he gets the new teams in, he'll put them up on the site and they'll be ready to go. So
yeah, it's interesting watching them. I think towards the end of the season, sometimes they do like clearance sales to just kind of get rid of the stock. So, I mean, you can take a risk and hope that you catch a size for cheaper, or you can grab the pre-order now. But either way, really cool logos all the time. The trash panel one's really interesting. But yeah, East Van Baseballs, check them out. And then these 4 are the latest Clink projects, I guess, to hit pre-order. Now, keep in mind that they still have to hit some sort of crazy sales goal. I don't know what the number is. They haven't really disclosed that. But to me, the winner out of this is the South Florida Flamingos. That's the one I like.
Yeah, that one's got the coolest backstory behind it. He's actually from Miami. Originally, when the Marlins were going to expand, there was like a name the team contest or something. The Flamingos won, but the owner of the team couldn't imagine putting pink on a uniform, so he like changed it to the Marlins. So this was kind of his tribute to what could have been the team in Miami.
Yeah.
Hey, Martin, if you had to choose the best one of those 4, which one would it be?
It'd have to be the Flamingo. I'm not. Yeah, we'll leave it there. The Flamingo out of the 4, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm with you on that too.
Yeah, I think that's the winner. And then shout out to the homie Tony. He will find out very soon if he's gonna be, I guess, hitting the pre-order on Friday. He is in the final steps of it, so if you guys can help him, give him a little push on social media.
I mean, there's a lot of great designs submitted. If you guys go to the Clink Room on IG and look at everything they're tagged in, you can see all the designs being submitted.
Yeah,
this is by far the best one submitted this week.
I might be biased, but I like this one.
It's not even, yeah.
So hopefully, best of luck to Tony. Hopefully he gets in. And then double release from the Capologist. So we're re-releasing the Foo Dog original, but we have the left. It's on navy with blue and royal with silver accents, and then the gold with yellow and white. So you can get these on pre-order at thecapologist.com until June 8th. We also are doing John McNutt's Leprechaun in all black with the green top, green bottom, and then we're redoing the female Foo Dog. So shout out to Roland and Absorb 81 for collaborating with us on this hat. Catch it on June 8th till June 8th. And then the homie Hoon sent us some news of Mastermind dropping their collaboration with New Era. I think this was a retail hit of around 100 US and sold out in 30 seconds. So if you want to get this hat, you're going to have to go onto the secondary market and pay about 180 to 200. That kind of belt buckle thing is kind of weird on a hat, but Mastermind's always known for doing some funky stuff. But
I'd hang my keys from that. That's what I would do.
Just open a beer with it.
Yeah. I don't know what it's for, but it's there, and Mastermind always.
It's probably so you can hang your hat off of like a backpack or something like that when you're not wearing it.
Maybe you can attach your wallet chain to it.
That'd be nice. That'd be hard walking though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
But either way, it sold out in 30 seconds. So
Yeah. What the fuck do we know?
What do we know?
Yeah. $100 and it sold out.
Goals,
So,
man.
I did want to mention, though, going back to the Clink Room, that Bookworms was done by a FHS member, Joel. So if you guys want to support other members, go and vote that one up.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to mention that.
Pierre, do you want to take us through this?
Yeah. So our buddy Adam from Over Your Head is putting this survey out there. So it's a restock poll. You're gonna have there's 3 different places that you can go and vote for which one you'd like to see restocked. Over Your Head Caps on Instagram. FHS will be posting it on there, and on his website, www.overyourheadcaps.ca. Listen, this guy puts out some great shit, and it's cool looking stuff. And listen, anytime we get a chance to hit a second time on something we might have missed or would want to see again. It's important that we take advantage of this. So he's looking for feedback, man. And this is a place where we get to almost control what comes next, which I think is pretty cool. So I don't know, man. I was looking at this with Leon earlier, and I'm a fan of the Trinity Bell.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of his first ones, isn't it?
Yeah, this is actually the one that I actually don't own. So this predates my relationship with him.
I mean,
but
you guys won't ever find a bigger Adam Chambo fan than me. But I actually only have one of these, so I'm going to ask him to restock just about everything here.
Yeah. Which one do you have currently?
I have the YYZ, that Pearson airport tribute hat. The first Spitfire.
For those who don't know, Adam's Canadian, so obviously the Trinity Bell is like a sexy mountie. The YYZ is the airport code for Toronto. The Bunome and the Woodsman is a winter-summer pack, collaboration with Ink Park Co. But the Bunome is actually, I think it's the logo for the festival in Quebec. I could be wrong. That's why it's got a French name. And then the Barnstormers is actually a hat that was never really meant to be a general release hat. So that one's kind of cool. So they all got cool backstories, but if I were to pick one, I gotta have the Trinity Bell for selfish reason, because it's the one I don't.
You know what's cool about this stuff, Leon, too, is after getting to know Tony Ross better, get to know Adam better, get to know Martin tonight better. I don't know about everybody else, but it makes me want to buy more from them. You know, because I mean, you get to know these folks, and these are just great people out there doing great things. And, you know, that's what I love most about what we've been doing lately is just getting some of these folks out there for people to get to know better, because I've not only connected with a lot of the products that they put out and the designs, but also the human beings. So, and Martin, tonight, again, I want to thank you for coming on, because it was impressive getting to know you, and it feels really good to understand more about you. And it makes me want to – I'm so excited to see what's coming next from you now. You know, it's like this is what this is for, man. It's what this is for.
No, I appreciate you guys, man. And everybody, honestly, like the feedback that I've gotten back on just these 2 releases that have come out has been phenomenal. And everybody's just been so great. You know, I mean, the people that are buying the hats, the people that want the hats, you guys, I mean, everybody's been super nice with the comments and getting to know everybody. And, you know, I try to answer all the messages. I try to answer like all the comments on the pictures. So it's hard sometimes, even when they tag me. I'm getting tagged so much on this last release now that I'm missing things and having to go back like 2 days later, just to try to just tell everybody how much I appreciate the support. But I'm trying to come with heat. Like I told you guys earlier, like no disrespect to the other designers, but I'm trying to be the number one, man. Like I want to be the Caterpillar, you know, like Royce 59 says, like that's me, that's the plan. So we'll see what comes. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. I would do this every week if you want me to. So
well, listen, for a guy who doesn't who only wears the Detroit hat because it has a D on there, you certainly talk a lot about Detroit. So Royce the 59 is from Detroit.
Right. I didn't say I didn't know rappers. I said I didn't know baseball players.
Listen, I love it. So I think before we wrap up, Jason, I want to give you an opportunity to kind of share what's going on the hat battle front, because I know first I think on behalf of Leon and I want to thank you for all the effort you're putting into creating something great for the community. But I'd love it if you could just kind of take us through what's going on.
Yeah. So right now, I just announced on Instagram and Facebook that we have formed an official promotion for hat battles called the World Fitted Federation, kind of taking the name that Big Dave threw out in his promo videos. But we're actually going to make this an actual thing. We're going to have weight classes. So if you feel like your collection doesn't match up to those of like Big Dave or Big Rob, don't worry about it. If you have 5 hats or 5,000 hats, we'd love to have you come and battle. And it's not even so much about the battles. It's about, just like this, getting guys together, gals together to talk about hats, show off some awesome hats, show off part of your collection. and just basically shoot the shit about hats. So right now we're just asking people to come sign up. If they're interested in participating, we're going to put some weight divisions together, and then we're going to launch what we're calling the King of the Crown Battle Royal tournament, if you will.
Yeah. And Jason, can I add one thing? I just want to make sure I throw this out there is I don't want anyone steering away from this because you feel like your collection's not big enough.
No.
Because listen, this is about having fun, and you know the weight divisions are in a place, so you're not going to see someone with 100 hats going up against Leon. You know,
absolutely not.
We don't.
Leon's in his own weight division.
We're about opening it up and making sure that we're including as many people as possible, not being exclusionary here. So please don't worry about any of that stuff. We'll work out the details and make sure that it's a, you know, it's a like-weighted competitor. But we want as many people involved as possible because it's all about community and building community and just getting closer to one another the right way. So please don't let that turn you off from doing this. We'll figure out that part and make sure that it's a fair, fun battle.
And we're not. And the other thing we're going to do is, like, if you're going to be in a battle, we'll work with you beforehand to make sure we're not throwing out categories that you don't have hats for. We're going to make sure everybody can participate. Everybody has a hat they can bring, or, you know, a handful of hats they can bring. And we're just going to have a lot of fun. We're going to try and do weekly shows, maybe monthly or quarterly pay-per-view events that have some bigger matches or more matches. And yeah, we'll get a website going. I'm already working on that now. We'll have rankings and articles and get to know the battlers. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to give a lot of people the opportunity to chat with other people about hats. I know we're all boxed up in our houses now, just dying to talk to other people. So let's do that.
Yeah. And before Leon, before you take us out, Martin, you have an open invitation to come on as a judge once or twice. We'd love to have you on at judging to help us out with that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, just hit me. We'll hit you up soon because we're going to need to enlist your expertise around design. So
yeah.
All right, cool. Leon, you want to take us away?
Yeah, and then even for what, like, not that you need the help selling out your hats, but anytime you want to promo any new hats, we have an open invite for you to come on and you know, shameless plug yourself. So we'd love to have you on. But thanks guys for hanging out and you know, spending time with us. We're over an hour mark, so we'll pretty much end it here. We do have 4 hats, 8 colorways to show off, so we're gonna try to come back live later in the week to show you it, but we're just trying to schedule some time with some of the collaborators that we worked with the capologists to have a live show and show you guys some of the stuff that landed. So the boat has finally landed from China, and we got some new eras to show you guys. So we'd love to get you guys back on, but until then, we will catch you guys later. Stay fitted, everyone.
Thanks a lot, Martin.
You guys.
See you guys soon. All right.
Oh, Jason left.
Jason bounced.
Martin, thanks so much, man. That was great.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. That was awesome. It went fast. That was a quick hour.
That was a quick hour.
Good, man. It was really good. And we had like a good, like,